Hey everybody, Doc Brown here with a quick video guitar lesson. As promised, I'm going to give you a breakdown of my solo guitar or chord melody arrangement of Thelonious Monk's Blue Monk. So if you made it this far to the lesson video but you haven't checked out the performance video yet, you should do that first. I'm going to post a link to the performance video in the video description below. I'm also going to post a link where you can download a PDF of this arrangement in standard notation and tablature. So if you want to follow along as I go through this arrangement, or if you just want to tackle it on your own, feel free. While you're down there checking out those links, please hit the subscribe button. That helps out a lot. So let's talk a little bit about this tune and then we'll get into the breakdown. So Thelonious Monk's Blue Monk is a 12-bar blues in B flat. You can tackle this tune using the standard, 3 chords, 1, 4, 5, all dominant 7 chords. To get through this, you can dress it up as a jazz blues, kind of whatever you prefer. It's a very popular jazz blues tune. It's probably one of the first that I learned that I can think about. And yeah, my arrangement of this is fairly simple. I take 2 times through the chorus. The first time the voicings are a little sparser, and then I fill them out a little bit more on the second time through. And it's pretty simple, like I said. I'm using a combination of shell voicings, rootless voicings, and some spread triads. So if you're not familiar with these terms, feel free to ask in the comments and I'll try and answer them. You could also check out, there's videos on these things on YouTube from great educators, or, get yourself a great guitar teacher as well. That's another option. So let's dive into the arrangement, shall we? So once again, B flat blues. What's interesting about this melody though is that it uses a lot of chromatic notes. So the first kind of statement of our melody goes like this, and it's over the 1 chord and the 4 chord. So on both instances, we're starting on the 3rd, walking up to the 5th chromatically. So that's basically just the first 2 measures right there. So let's go ahead and talk about how we harmonize that. So once again, going to be using some standard shell voicings here, starting off with the stock, B flat 7 shell voicing. So I have the root, 7th and 3rd, and I'm going like this. So that's kind of that little first statement there. And what I'm doing for these, these chord tones that exist outside the chord, whether, these chromatic things, I'm basically using passing diminished chords to harmonize those. It's a super common technique that, all sorts of players use to harmonize these chords. Think about Wes Montgomery or Joe Pass. If you check out their chord melodies, you're going to find these types of ideas, passing diminished chords in there. So I go, and then I'm just landing on this spread triad of a B flat major chord, just a straight up B flat major. You could add the 7th if you want to fill it out a little bit more. Typically in jazz style music, jazz music, you don't hear just straight up chords. They usually have the 7th and upper extensions. Guys like, Wes Montgomery and Joe Pass, who I just mentioned, probably aren't going to play this type of voicing. You might hear this in like a Van Epps or a Lenny Breau or even like a Lage Lund type of thing. But I just thought it worked nicely just because of the voice leading primarily. We're going to take the same idea now and apply it on the 4 chord. We have the same type of melody. So I'm starting here with an E flat shell voicing, E flat spread triad. I could have kept it a shell voicing though, like I did for the B flat and 1, 7, 3 there, speaking from an E flat, but I just use this. We end up on an E flat spread triad here, and then the next part of our melody, bars 3 and 4. Another kind of twisting, turning thing here with some chromatic notes. So this is all over B flat 7. So I'm starting with a standard B flat 7 voice. Let's break that down real quick. So I hit the root, grab that voicing, and then have that movement. This is kind of a neat voicing. It's like a rootless voicing, B flat 7, sharp 9, sharp 11. Just moving that down by half steps, some parallel movement there. That's kind of nice and bluesy sounding. And then, so for that little chromatic line, I just kind of harmonize it as double stops, straight parallel chromaticism here, meaning I'm just moving the same shape back and forth. And then when I get down to here, I do add my root again, so I have root, 7th, and then 9th. You could fill it out with that open D string. Once again, I'm kind of keeping these voicings sparse, so I want to keep it consistent throughout this chorus. So that's the first 4 bars. Next, we get back to our 4 chord, and for the first part of this melody, Same thing we encountered before, and then we walk up from the 5th to the flat 7th. So first part I'm going to do the same thing. Here, if you know this kind of 4-note diminished 7th chord, I'm basically taking that note off the B string to keep that same sparse quality of all the chord voicing. And once again, just moving past some diminished chords to get there. We do end up on what would be like an E flat 7, flat 9, or if you're moving up, it's an E fully diminished on that bar. Then we have this again. Pretty much exactly the same thing I played up until the end, where I add that little bit of bass movement just to keep things moving in the arrangement. So we have a little walk up to the 6th there. Now, for this arrangement, I did reference the album Alone in San Francisco a lot. It's Thelonious Monk solo piano album. Thought it'd be a great starting point for a solo jazz guitar arrangement. So the melody there goes like that. During this solo piano album, you'll hear it kind of harmonize in that sort of bluesy way there. Put a little bass gesture in there. And then now we're on an F7. So I'm taking kind of this stock sort of rootless voicing. You have the 3rd, 7th, 13th, and 9th. Moving that to the middle set of strings here. So I can go, oops, excuse me. So really, the only thing that changes is this F7 that starts it off. You're going to notice this is the same shape that I'm just moving down. So really using those parallel dominants to move through here. And we end up back at B flat 7 to iterate that one more time before we complete this time through the melody. So that last part. And then for the turnaround there, what I played in the video, we have an F7 flat 13 with a sharp 9. And then that sharp 9 moves down to a flat 9. Now we're back at the top. So I'm going to go through the melody one more time, use a lot of the same similar ideas. This time I'm just going to fill out some of these chords a little bit more. A lot of these voicings were just 3 notes before. Now I'm going to try and beef them up to 4, add a little bit more color to them. All right, so we're going to start in the same place, standard B flat 7 shell voicing. And now we're going to jump up to like a C half diminished voicing. And we're going to move that up to chromatically. We're going to move that up chromatically, and we're going to land on what looks like, a D flat minor 7 flat 5. Excuse me, D minor 7 flat 5 up here. Really, we're thinking that over the B flat here. Like a B flat dominant 9 type of voicing. So same thing on the E flat now. I'm going to use this kind of stock 7th voicing. Not a voicing I would use a lot. It's pretty plain, but for this it's going to work. Turn these into fully diminished 7th chord. Land on that same kind of half diminished voicing, but if we're thinking of the 3rd of E flat, we get that 9th sound. And then I'm doing the same thing from before on that. Except now I'm hitting this low E, adding a little tritone sub type of thing there. I still have the B flat in there, but that low E with that B flat on bottom. Got a bit of a rub there, kind of a little nod to Monk himself there. Now we're up to our 4 chord. I'm going to start it by harmonizing it the exact same way as I did in the first 4 bars. Using those full 4-note voicings here. This time, before I told you to leave out that note on the B string, we're just adding it in to fill it out. You just move that same voicing up, and then this is going to be the same again. So all that to finish it out, those last 4 bars are going to be exactly the same. Really what just changes between the 2 choruses are going to be those first 8 bars of it. I just fill out those chords a little more. So let's talk about where you go from here. So in my performance video, I go ahead and I launch into a couple of choruses soloing from there. So to do that, I believe what I did was I head back to the same chord from before, this F7 with the flat 9, excuse me, sharp 9, flat 13. And I just kind of lead that back to a B flat 7 there. So it's kind of diminished sounding voicing. When you put it over F, that's going to give you an F7 with the flat 9 there. And whatever sort of B flat 7 you want to land on there. It does lead nicely to a chord with a B flat on top there. But let's say you wanted to just end the tune right there. You go. That's a cool chord. So I'm holding on to that dyad, that B flat, and I'm basically playing like an E power chord below that, E and B. If you're thinking of this as like a tritone sub, you have the root, the fifth, then you have sharp 11 or flat 5, flat 7th. And this is just a cool sound. I actually stole this voicing from La Galant. You can, of course, do it up here, like off the B flat. But that's how I end the tune. You could let it hang out on that voicing, kind of monkish, kind of dissonant. I just kind of wrap it up with a quick B flat octave. So let's put it all together. This is what it sounds like. Couple small mistakes in there, but I think you get the picture. It's all in the PDF. You can also check out the performance video for a completely polished version of that. So thank you for checking this out. Thank you for downloading the PDF and all that. Please subscribe. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments. And if you have any suggestions for future arrangements, future video ideas, anything like that, please also let me know. Interested in your feedback. So once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.